Hi everyone and welcome once again to the Train Aid HQ. My name is Nick. I'm here to talk to you about the Level 4 Certificate in Education and Training and what evidence is required to go into your teaching evidence folder. For the Level 4 course, we have 11 different teaching evidence sections, which I'm just going to talk to you in turn to help you to understand a little bit more about what needs to go into your teaching evidence folder. Number one is the teaching log. This log is demonstrating 30 hours of your teaching evidence practice. The teaching log behind me demonstrates a date when the teaching took place, the course or lesson, and also the time spent delivering to your class. It's very important that you keep a record of your log just to demonstrate when you were in the classroom or training environment delivering your training. Just at the bottom of the form there are two signatures. The learner signature is yourself and the supervisor signature is a signature of typically a manager or colleague, but someone who can certify and to say that you delivered all of those 30 hours of teaching. We are looking to see authentic signatures, so do feel free to print off your teaching log, get yourself and your colleague to sign it, scan it into your teaching evidence folder, or an electronic signature is sufficient here. The next criteria is the syllabus or specification. This is essentially a handbook of your qualification or course, and it just demonstrates to us that you understand about what it is that you are teaching. You can often get a qualification specification from an awarding body website. They often come in a Word document or a PDF file. For example, this one is the Level 3 Award in Education and Training, and this was downloaded from the Highfield website. We are looking to see one qualification syllabus or specification within your teaching evidence folder. If you are perhaps developing, you're teaching a new course, please feel free to make a syllabus or specification. These are very important because they provide information on the qualification assessments, the units, the time frame of your course as well. But just to reiterate, we're expecting to see one syllabus or specification here. Do feel free to include more if you're teaching on a variety of courses. The next section is the scheme of work. So a scheme of work breaks down your syllabus into manageable chunks. So it just demonstrates the different perhaps weeks. You can even put months of your course and it just demonstrates what activities, resources you are using within your teaching. You could have one scheme of work for every unit that you are teaching. Within your teaching evidence folder, we're expecting to see a minimum of 1 to 2 different scheme of work here, but very important that they demonstrate 30 hours of teaching practice. So do include dates and also perhaps timing of your lessons here. Now the next section is your lesson observations. It is very important to be observed 3 times over the course of your Level 4 certificate. I'd recommend an observation perhaps at the start, in the middle and at the end. A common question is, does it have to be the same observer? No, it doesn't. If you know of 2 or even 3 qualified teachers or experienced trainers perhaps, they can observe you. So a colleague is absolutely fine to observe you. You can use our observation form provided behind me, or if you've got your own organisation's observation form, then that's absolutely fine to use as well. We do have a criteria on this form and also we have the outcome as well. So in this section here we're expecting to see a tick and also a grade as well. So grade 1 is outstanding, 2 is good, 3 satisfactory and 4 is unsatisfactory as well. There is an overall grade and comment section which your observer will need to fill out, but make sure that you both sign the observation form and put the date in as well. The next section is a self-evaluation form. After every lesson observation, it's important that you take time for you to reflect on how the teaching went for you. This is our self-evaluation form, and it covers different elements of teaching. So it looks at were you prepared in terms of your resources, were the learners engaged as well. So this is thinking about your own self. And again, please make sure that you put a date, a signature, just to ensure that it marries up with your observation. Okay, so we are expected to see 3 different self-evaluation forms here. They can be handwritten, they can be typed as well. Now, our next section is initial and diagnostic testing. This is different in terms of every organisation. So for initial assessment, you could put things such as application forms into your folder. It could be starter activities. It could be, for example, VARC questionnaires on learning styles. If you are using perhaps a computer format, such as BKSB, you could perhaps put a sample of questions that you use into this folder. Okay, what we are expecting to see perhaps is a minimum of 5 different initial assessment materials in your folder. So it could be things such as starter activities, it could be formal interview questions. Okay, so it can be the case of perhaps a PowerPoint, it can be a PDF file or a Word document or an application form. Okay. Now, the next section we have is individual learning plans or one-to-one reviews. A very important part of being a teacher or trainer is just having a conversation with your learners on the course to see how they are progressing. Okay, so for ILPs, we're expected to see 5 different learners. You do not need to include their names as well for confidentiality purposes. Okay, the ILP behind me shows the dates, discussion notes, also targets as well, so setting your learners agreed targets, and also to be achieved by date as well. So whatever the target is, there's going to be an end goal here as well. But just to reiterate, we're looking at 5 different learners, and we're expecting to see just you setting some targets for your learners as well. Now, the next section is teaching resources. So for this section, we're looking to see what resources you use as a teacher or trainer. So quite common ones, we see our PowerPoints, we see handouts within this folder, evidence of interactive teaching such as Kahoot or Socrative, but we're looking to see 5 different teaching resources as well. Try and make them a variety as well, so we'd like to see different ones that you use, and do feel free to include screenshots as well, mobile phone photos, but if you are using any photos, please make sure perhaps you write underneath about what the picture demonstrates and how effective it was within your lesson. Now, the next one is looking at communication with colleagues. This could be screenshots of emails, minutes of the meeting, and it looks like we could include things such as agendas as well. We're looking to see 5 different examples again of different types of communication. So it can be minutes of a meeting that you've chaired and hosted. It could be screenshots of emails to your colleagues, perhaps to book a teaching room, for example. Again, in terms of confidentiality, if you would like to blank out the names, that is absolutely fine to do as well. Now, learner feedback. What we are looking for within this section is your feedback from your learners to find out about how the lesson was and what they thought about your teaching style, delivery, resources. And it's very important here for you to get feedback for your own practice as well. Just behind me, we have an example of a learner feedback form. So as you can see, we have different titles here, such as the aim and objectives of the course were clear. We also have the course was interesting, varied, and taught at a suitable pace. Now you can create your own learner feedback form, or you can use the one provided by TrainAid. You can even use online surveys as well, such as SurveyMonkey. You could even screenshot the results. But we are expecting to see learner feedback in here, okay? Thank you very much for your time and patience for today. If any of the level 4 criteria and teaching evidence was unclear, please get in contact with us. Please send us an email inquiry or a telephone call. The easiest way to store evidence is through an electronic folder. You can use a hard copy folder if you wish, and regardless of whatever stage you are at with a level 4 course, please send your evidence through to us and we will check the criteria as well. Thank you for listening today, and all the best from TrainAid.